coming to preparation, and I will do this very, very shortly because and very briefly, because I'm sure 50 people have spoken to you about how to prepare, how to make your CV and how to prepare for interviews. I'm going to talk about very FMCG specific things because those are things where I feel I can add value to you right now. Very simply speaking, please do not assume that a recruiter is looking at your resume for more than 6 seconds. 6 seconds is really the amount of time that somebody has. Usually it is the HR who's reading your resume. So make sure that it counts. Make sure that the 6 seconds count when you make your resume. What are the top 6 things that you want to highlight? Be very clear about it and ensure that they're visible. Keep it more active than passive. What I would typically mean by that is, I did so and so, or I organized so and so, or I led a team of so and so, rather than saying I was a part of the team, or more active conversations than passive conversations. Try to tell a story through your resume. This one's very clear. Try to see what the recruiter or which organization the recruiter is from or which industry the recruiter is from, and then try to tell a story through your resume. Be good, not look good. This is my personal favorite. Please do not put points that you feel add value to your resume. Put points that you would genuinely like to talk about and where you've genuinely worked, because trust me, there is nothing more off-putting for a recruiter than looking at a point that the candidate is not able to talk about or justify in any way possible. And that doesn't work well for anybody. And okay, so to that point, another question that you might have is, oh, but I've not done any fancy projects. Oh, but I have not been a part of any, any big event, or I've not organized. It does not matter, guys. It's all that matters is who you are as an individual, and whatever you have done, did you know what you were doing, and did you know how you were doing it, and was there logic to whatever you were doing? So it really doesn't matter what do you have on your resume, as long as you're able to talk about it and bring impact in an interview. Content, context, and quantify. These are 3 things that I try to be very mindful of, or I always try to look at when I'm looking at somebody's resume. Is a content. You will select what you want to put. Be very selective. Please do not put everything, because it doesn't help anybody. It just makes the resume laborious for recruiters to read, and it makes it difficult for them to see what they want to question you about. And if they question you about something that you were not very comfortable writing in the first place, then it doesn't work in your favor. So choose your content. Try to give some context, like rather than saying I did so and so and got so and so, try to say why it was important. Give some kind of context to a recruiter. And then quantify. Try and quantify wherever you can. Not to say please put numbers blindly everywhere, but try to quantify effect or impact if you can. This is the one last point, and a very important point. I've seen a lot of resumes where it looks like 3 people have made one person's resume. Sections don't talk to each other. Please ensure that it is one cohesive document, and you look like one person when I read your resume. A lot of times it looks like 3 different personalities are talking to me, because part A of the resume is something else, part B is something else, and part C is something altogether, a different altogether. Next one on interviews. Guys, this is, and I don't need to tell you about interviews because I know you've sat through many already, and I'm sure you must be preparing, but very, very quick pointers. Practice confidence. If you don't feel you're confident about an interview, just practice. And this is something that I used to struggle with, and I can talk about a personal example. So I used to be very conscious of the points that I was making sometimes, and I felt that I was not articulate enough. Hence, what I started doing was I started preparing in front of the mirror, and it gets very irritating. Okay, in the beginning, it is very difficult to do it because you keep getting distracted. But the more you practice and the more you talk about your answers, the more you write it down and, put very, very specific pointers on each answer that you want to talk about. I think it helps. It really helps in the interview because you're that much more confident about what you're going to say. Read a lot and keep reading until you don't have time to read, about the role, about the organization. Talk to people, try and understand and decide for yourself if you even want it, right? Be articulate. This will come if you practice, and if you're like, don't try to think, take your time, ask for time, think, and then try and put your answer in 3 to 4 brief points. Trust me, nobody has patience beyond that. Recruiters are usually not looking for answers beyond that. And if they are, they will ask you. Fourth, ask questions. This is one mistake that I used to do when I was younger, and that I feel a lot of kids do today, is once you ask a question in an interview, you'll just start answering, even if you've not understood um, the context of it, or if you've not understood the premise of it, or if you've not understood what exactly is expected out of you. Ask questions. It is not rude. Try to get as much clarification as possible, so your answer is as pointed as possible for the recruiter, and make it personal. That is my most important point and learning over the years that I have worked. Please try to keep your interview very personal. And recruiters are not looking for machines who can, who can give the fastest solution or the most right solution. They are looking for people who can be genuine, who are wanting to make a difference, and who are wanting to work towards doing things better, towards making things better. um, uh, is it to say that functional knowledge is not important? Not at all. Of course, have your functional um, have your functional concepts in place, but keep the interview very personal and free flowing. Be confident. Talk about yourself. Talk about different things that you've done. See how you can bring more personality in an interview, because that's where you differentiate yourself. And really don't have to do anything, right? For the fifth point, you just have to be honest and confident. That's it. It is fine if you don't know something. It is fine if you don't feel confident in talking about something. It is fine if you want to talk about art in an interview that is not really related to art, that is related to something else. But if you get, and not everybody does, but if you get those windows in an interview, try to make an impact through your personality and not just through your knowledge. Please think about and find your own ikigai, right? Find your own purpose to why you want to do something that you want to do. I know FMCG, and we were kids, and I don't know how it is now, but when we were graduating and when we were in our final years, and I am from SP as well, so FMCG is like one of the most celebrated industries, and we were very, very excited about going to an FMCG space, and half of us didn't even think about why we were doing it. Okay. Or and what ends up happening is you end up realizing that you're not made for it, because sometimes you don't like the kind of work, sometimes you don't like where you are. And so one thing that I would truly ask you to do while you are students yourself, please think about what you want to do, what drives your life, and what you're good at. And once you get those three things in place, I think you'll be able to find the right industry, the right job. And of course, there'll always be levers. So keep reaching out to people, keep talking to people if you don't have clarity, because a lot of times we don't have clarity. But try to stay true to yourself. And that is my one big pointer to everybody today, every student, everybody trying to find a job, trying to do something of their own. Try to find your purpose and stay true to it.